Thank you again for joining us for 10 steps to improve investment return. This is step 2, cap your annual turnover rate at 30%. So what is turnover? Turnover is simply how much you buy and sell the positions in your investment portfolio. So when we're saying if you have 100% turnover, that means for every position you bought in this year, you've sold it before the year's end and bought something else. And the reason you want to limit the turnover rate is simply because it is cost. It's cost added to the portfolio, which takes away from your investment return. Just as a rule of thumb, 100% turnover, if you're looking at things like common stocks, will add 1% cost against your return. And that's a little less for bonds. But as a general rule of thumb, bonds are probably about 1/4%.
And of course, when you sell a security, you're going to have to either record taxable gains or losses. There's a huge difference between short-term capital gains, which takes place if you sell a security without holding it for more than a year, and long-term capital gains, which you generate from holdings longer than a year. The difference is quite severe. On a short-term basis, a typical person today would pay 1.8% of the proceeds as tax on a short-term basis. Waiting it for 1 year will reduce that to around 0.6%. Turnover by its nature increases cost. It also increases your belief that you can bet against the future, which is difficult, so it holds right with our first philosophy of long-term investing. Less costly, less taxes, and the ability to earn a compounded rate of return based on the fundamentals of the businesses you own.
Another thing I wanted to add is if you look at the preferential tax treatment for long-term capital gains, the government is actually subsidizing you to be a long-term investor. They want you to realize that you'll pay less in taxes if you are a long-term investor versus a short-term investor. And that's simply because they understand that long-term investors do better than those who are short-term investors. And once we get to retirement, they'll have more money in savings versus those who try to play the buy and sell quick trade game.
Tune in again as we talk about the efficient market theory, a theory that we don't believe in, and we'll talk in depth about that next time. Thank you.